Public Works and Infrastructure Minister Dean Macpherson has welcomed the move by the department's entity, the Construction Industry Development Board, the CIDB, to blacklist 40 contractors from doing business with the department and its entities. The blacklisting spans from June 2024 to date. The minister says this sends a clear signal that the department is serious about acting against non-performance, and it means that these contractors are now prohibited from bidding for tenders or being awarded work by the department. The minister says this aligns with his vision of ensuring that the department is a professional and highly functional delivery unit. To help us understand more about this is Bongani Dladla, Construction Industry Development Board CEO. A very good evening to you. Thank you so much for your time. I mean, the blacklisting of 40 contractors is a strong stance. How does the CIDB ensure that this process is indeed fair and transparent without opening up opportunities for abuse or perhaps political influence?
Oh, definitely. We strictly follow the CIDB Act and our regulations to ensure that when we investigate, and in some instances do independent investigations, we are looking at credible allegations. And then we also offer those contractors that are due to be shortlisted or are suspected to have done the wrongdoing, follow the PAJA process, allow them an opportunity to respond to the allegations that have been leveled against them. And obviously our internal governance processes ensure that this is not a decision of one person. You take it through the executive committee, the board, and the various board committees to make the final recommendation for the removal.
As we try and get a sense of some of the reasoning behind what brings a company to this point, what specific performance or ethical failures triggered the blacklisting?
Yeah, in many instances, it's where companies misrepresent their credentials, be it past projects that they have done to grow within the CIDB gradings or their financial capability to undertake projects of a significant size. As you've seen over the years, there's been an increase in the number of project failures, be it projects that are not completed on time or projects where the budget get exhausted before we even get on an 80% mark of the project. So that raises suspicions as to whether the companies that are doing that work are competent and capable. And then that's where we start our investigations as the CIDB. In some cases, some of these contractors have been reported by the public through our hotline to saying this contractor's performance or their growth within the CIDB grading is suspicious, or in other cases where even the media reports on some of these projects that are stalled and are not completed.
I mean, even with that, we've seen the same individuals coming back into the system under a different company name. So that raises and brings questions around how blacklisting works. Is it the individual? Is it the company who is exactly blacklisted? And how do they land back in the system after being blacklisted?
Yeah, the initial aspect is that as a CIDB, our current regulations regulate the conduct of companies. Yes, sometimes that can extend to what reflects as a company performance is the performance of the directors. But in this case, we are shortlisting companies. And what happens is that, and it's something that we are seriously looking at, how do we close that gap around individuals when they come and register other companies. But what gives us comfort at this stage is that when you deregister a company that is a grade 9, whoever comes back, be it any of the shareholders, directors, or employees of that company, they will come back to our register as a grade 1 company under the current regulations. But we are tightening also our regulations by amending those to ensure that we can easily also deal with the directors, because most of the time it is the action of directors that lead to companies falsifying information and other transgressions.
So how does blacklisting then balance accountability with the need to avoid destabilizing smaller contractors who may already be struggling in a tough economic climate?
Yeah, definitely. You see, unfortunately, we've taken a stance of zero tolerance towards fraud and corruption as it comes to the registration, because these sometimes can look like harmless crimes but are causing huge devastation to the South African economy with stalled projects, incomplete projects, and then also sometimes lead to other health and safety disasters. So what we do is that we are trying to set the tone correct for the construction industry, where if you are found to have transgressed, you are not competent to do projects of that nature if you get that grade fraudulently. Hence, we are just removing those companies. But we are focusing also on developing construction companies, genuine construction companies, through the Build program to ensure that they have the tools in order to be excellent, and their growth within the CIDB grades is not stalled. But those that decide to be bad actors and are leading into projects that are not finished on time, within budgets or the right quality, cannot be fair players and cannot be protected in this industry.
I mean, let's go back to the question of contractors coming back into the system. I mean, you've explained that if the contractor, the director under a specific company may have not finished a project or whatever the case is on a grade 9 level and then return as a grade 1 level, that still doesn't bar them from getting the job and repeating the same thing, which really brings to question issues around corruption at that point, when communities say, okay, this is the same guy, this is the same group of guys who did project A and never finished project A, and now they're back to do project B, and guess what? Project B won't be finished, but they still manage to get back into the system irrespective of grades.
Yes, and that is why we are also looking at clients as to how they do their procurement processes. If someone is already doing grade 9 projects and they come back as a grade 1, they should not, under the South African law, be able to do so. But what we need to also do is to strengthen our partnerships with the likes of CIPC in order to be able to flag those companies, those directors. Although it's difficult to deem someone a delinquent director, to bar them from actually participating even in the formation of a company, but we need to strengthen our regulations, at least from what is within our control, the construction industry. Hence, proposals, even for regulation amendments, are being made to ensure that we can strengthen that part. But any member of the public, any official, has a right to flag if they are suspecting foul play within the construction procurement processes, to avoid precisely the scenario that you have painted for us.
Very well. Thanks for speaking to us. Let's perhaps leave it there for now. Bongani Dladla, Construction Industry Development Board CEO.